If you've been, following the trail and watching, throughout, you've noticed that from last week we've been paying a key attention on frequently asked questions, and of course, in line with that, we've been having experts to answer to those questions that most of you have been grappling with, and that's what we're going to be having today. So this week we did have a question, and it's a frequently asked question. So let's take a listen before we get into the solutions, and before I tell you who I have in studios to give you solutions and practical answers to those.
Good morning, Mala. I need your help. Whenever I stock up my shop, I'm always blessed with customers, and by the end of the month, usually my stock is fully sold out. However, I never see the money. I seem not to be able to account for the money that has come out of the sales. Please advise. Thank you. Good morning, Mala. I need your help. Whenever I stock up my shop, I'm always blessed with customers, and by the end of the month, usually my stock is fully sold out. However, I never see the money. I seem not to be able to account for the money that has come out of the sales. Please advise. Thank you.
So by the end of today's segment, you'll be having a financial management guide for your business. All right. So in studios, I'm joined by Miss Jane Amuge Okello. She's a financial expert and also a wealth management advisor in the country. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mala. Good morning.
Good morning. So I am here. I'm just taking the example of many entrepreneurs, and most of them are actually in the retail space. So, merchandising and stuff like that. Most of them, the question that comes through is, like you've heard, they stock up their shop or their unit space. There's a lot of activity, so customers are coming, there's buying and selling happening, but at the end of the month, or by the time they now want to restock the shop, they can't see the money. They can't say where my money went to. So what are these principles, or where could they be going wrong?
I think it starts with purpose. The business is a separate entity whose purpose needs to be clearly defined. But then there's also the entity of the business owner that needs to also be defined. Once the two are not clearly defined, you find that there's going to be conflict. Businesses are like beings. They need to be grown. They go through stages. Similarly, as a person, you have different needs. You have your short-term needs, your medium-term needs, and your long-term needs. So once that separation is clear, then you'll purpose on the thing that you want to do for your business. Now, that brings us to a scenario where you have your retail business and you pick stuff from the shop as though that is your store at home. In that case, you may not record what you've taken. Or if you record, you'll feel entitled that it's your business, so you can pick things the way that you want it. Now, sometimes if you have employees in your retail shop, the employees do not sell your stock. They go out,
Buy their own
stock,
Ooh.
and then sell it. At the end of the day, they're telling you there are no customers. So you need to understand that stock taking and record keeping is very vital for these retail businesses. Otherwise, you'll be paying rent for your employee. And the employees are usually looking very excited, and you think all is good until you do an audit on a day. And you realize that they have been selling their own products, using your rent, using your space, and using your business.
So how do you mitigate that? For example, and I'm sure this is something that happens to most of the,
Absolutely.
business owners who don't have time to be in their businesses 24/7. So you employ someone. But how do you mitigate that? How do you put controls to ensure that they don't cheat?
I think it's probably not a very good precedence to say that you don't have time for your business. It simply means that the purpose I talked about earlier on, is not clearly defined. When you set up a business, you need to create time for it. The very reason you've created the business is that you want to grow, and this business must grow as well. So you need to find time. If you're employed, you need to probably leave work at 5 and be ready to work until 10 p.m. in the night, getting to understand what the day was like, but also spend a little more time on the weekend, seeing how the customers relate to this person. So time is very vital. But also sometimes we do businesses that we don't understand. You need to have a bit of industry interest, so that even if you don't understand the business in depth, you could do a little more research or get mentored by someone that has done it already, so that as you supervise or that you run this business, you get to know it a little better every day. So knowledge of the business is very critical. And while we talk about finance, finance is not very isolated. It's all encompassing, in the sense that if you, for instance, are in the business of timber,
Right.
yeah, it could be lucrative, but you do not know how the timber is brought in and the whole drying process and all that. Or if you're in the process of having stock in your shop, maybe you get things from Mukwano, you get things from different suppliers. You need to understand the concept of retail business. At what point do you feel that your business is stagnated? And you need to have those trends. If you don't trend your business, if you don't do reporting to yourself,
Right.
even if you're the business owner, you need to report to yourself. You need to know that probably in the last 2 weeks, this is how much money I have made, this is how much data I've accumulated, this is how much stock that we have, this is how the inventory levels are moving. Now, if you're not able to trend that, then you cannot know whether you're doing in real business or you're busy. Several people are busy.
Or it's a hobby.
Yeah.
All right, so at least you've drawn the line. We've clearly articulated that you need to be present for your business.
Yeah.
You need to be there. Just create some time. But also the other basics have to be in check.
Yeah.
Your purpose, you know, ensure that you're present, like we've said. But if you're present, because most of them will say that I'm not employed anywhere, so I'm always here, and I'm the one who most of the time deals with the customers. But there's a lot of activity. I've been blessed with customers, but at the end of the month, I can't see this money. So over and above reporting to yourself, what are some of these basics? You said that at times we might feel like we are entitled to pick if it's a can of maybe is it oil or fat or anything or sugar, because I don't have it at home. I can just pick it and not account for it. But over and above that, what are these other aspects that make my business fail and make me see like I've sold everything, but I don't have the money to account for?
I guess business has several fundamentals, and one of them is pricing. Sometimes people guess pricing. So you ask someone, how come this cup is costing this much? And there's no scientific reason why it's actually costing that much. Meaning probably someone has not costed transportation, has not costed the person that is in the shop, has not costed all these centers that they should be focusing on. So at the end of the day, you don't derive that revenue or that turnover that is equivalent to all that you have actually incurred in running the business.
Right.
So people need to pay attention to the cost of running the business. Now, if you don't pay attention to that, you will actually not ever break even, because you just keep guessing things. You go to a place, buy things, and you do not have a clearly defined margin as well. So you need to pay attention and even reduce them. If you, for instance, you discover that you've been buying from an expensive place and it is still the same product, identify a new supplier, so that you reduce that cost. Maybe you don't need 2 employees in your little shop. Sometimes
Right.
we're business owners, and you're comfortable doing a lot of nothing and having sending girls around, pick for me this, all those are costs.
Right.
So you may have to reduce on the number of employees that you have as well. But broadly is, at the end of the day, if the business is not working, you may need to think twice. sometimes we insist on things that are totally actually not working. So you keep doing it again and again, thinking that something is going to change. While it's good to be persistent with business, sometimes you need to cut your losses early enough and say, okay, I think this is not working. I could identify other opportunities that work for me, and then you give in all those other things that we described earlier on, and probably you'll have a better business to do. So people need to get to a point of saying, okay, I think I have tried.
Right.
I've done it right. I've been mentored. I have got training. I have done all this. But probably this kind of line is not working. Yeah.
It's okay to let go.
It's okay to let go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not easy though. All right, let's speak to this other key aspect. And I think this is the reason as to why many people say that, yeah, I can't see the money and I've sold everything. And this is where people don't know how to pay themselves. Because you start a business so it can sustain you. It can, you know, afford you a certain lifestyle so you can be able to keep up with life and the costs and bills as well. So when it comes to business, of course, factoring in the cost of running the business, your P&Ls, the profit and loss pretty much, you know, kind of recordings. How should what's the principle of me paying myself out of the profits? What percentage should be going into my personal pocket?
Even before you go to the profit, which would I think be the dividend related.
Correct.
Way of paying yourself. Those are incomes. But then you should be part of the expenses. You should be part of the admin expenses of your business. Your salary must be properly, clearly defined, and you know that at the end of the month, this is what I get paid. Now, people who don't...
Wait, just say that again.
Yes.
Because people think that maybe I can just take a small bit of my profit. So you're saying that as you run your business, one of your costs of running your business is your salary.
I run
I
run businesses myself, but I earn from my businesses. I'm on the payroll of the businesses. So whether it's 1 million shillings or whatever it is, but I know that at the end of the month I am earning from business. Now after all that is done and I have filed my returns and I have a clearly defined profit, then we can sit as shareholders and directors and say we want to pay ourselves dividends of this much. That is if we actually think it's the right decision.
But Jen, you're talking to an SME, a small shop.
Trust me, you need to do that. If you don't have that discipline, you're going to get yourself in real trouble. And that is why people don't build generational businesses. You hear someone saying, I'm going to open a business for my wife. So the whole thing is a small business for my wife. You know, it's small, it's limited. You need to be thinking like the Madivanis, that while right now you have a small business, the idea is that you grow big and become something tangible tomorrow. So we need to dream big and get to that point.
So what happens when, as you come to a close, what happens on a month whereby I'm having losses? Like I'm not realizing, okay, it's a bad month, it's a difficult month. It happens to every entrepreneur. What happens in that month? If I'm on the payroll, should I
don't think we're
pay
speaking
myself?
the same language, because loss at the end of the day is something to do with profit.
Right.
But every business has turnover. You have sales, and remember, when you earn sales the previous month, you don't spend everything. You probably had some retained revenues that, you know, your business cannot be broke. You cannot be running your business like your normal life where, you know, you spend everything and you're calling friends around, Tasa, give me this. Yeah, so businesses should be able to find cushions around which to live. And salaries are not paid from profit. So the issue of loss or profitability is unrelated to salaries. It's really your operational incomes and being able to also take care of your operational expenses, including salaries.
Have you learned today? Thank you so much, Jane Amuge-Okello, financial expert and also a wealth management advisor. I think now your questions have been answered, right? You need to make sure that part of your expenses, the cost of running a business, one of the expenses needs to be your salary. And cushioning, financial cushioning for your business is important, such that even on a bad month, you're still able to pay yourself. Thank you so much for coming in studios.
Thank you, Mala.
Right, so share this video. We're going to post it on YouTube. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. This is one of the most frequently asked questions, and now you have the answers. Let's meet again tomorrow. Yet again, we'll be looking at another question, and we'll be having another financial expert. It's a week of frequently asked questions and getting solutions from experts in these fields. That's it for this particular show, this particular morning from 6:30 to 9 a.m. You have been with us. We salute you and be safe. Thank you. My name is Malaki Villa-Odera. Have a blessed day. Make it work. Let's meet again tomorrow, 6:30 to 9 a.m. Bye-bye.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse.